Tonight, I'm going in depth on the political balance of power in Oklahoma. Candidates filed for re-election last week, but we already know the results in many races before a vote is even cast. Republicans will hold on to their majority. Here's where things stand when it comes to the state legislature. As the band The Who once sang, but instead of a new boss, it's a new Republican majority set to control the state legislature next year. Last week, for 3 days, people from across Oklahoma came to the state capitol to file as candidates for federal, state, and county offices. But some of the races were called before a single vote was ever cast because only one person filed to run. Here's where things stand right now at the state capitol. In the Oklahoma House of Representatives, Republicans have a supermajority of 81 seats to 20 seats held by Democrats. It's a similar story in the smaller state Senate chamber, 40 Republicans to 8 Democrats. Now, months before a single vote is ever cast in the primary or general elections, Republicans have already won the majority in both chambers for the next session. So also in the words of The Who, who are these people? Take a look. Check marks mean a guaranteed Democratic or Republican seat. P's mean the party will hold on to the seat, but who will hold the seat specifically will be decided in the primary. And C's show contested seats, where a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, or Independent will face off in November for the seat. In the House, Republicans hold 37 guaranteed seats. Democrats hold 8. Once the primaries are over, Republicans will have at least a 58-seat majority, and Democrats will have 11 seats. 32 seats and how big the Republican majority is will be decided in November at the ballot box. Over in the state Senate, it's a slightly different story. Only half of all Senate seats are up for a vote this year. 18 Republicans and 3 Democrats don't have to run this year and keep their seats. Republicans also have 6 safe seats no one is challenging. After the primaries are over, Republicans will have 30 guaranteed seats in the Senate, and Democrats will have 5. Only 12 of the state's 48 Senate seats will ever go before voters in November. Last night, there was a surprising political announcement that could impact the balance of power. Incumbent Wagner County State Representative Kevin McDougal decided he will not seek another term in the Oklahoma House. McDougal, a Republican, has held the seat since 2016. He filed for re-election last week, but on Monday filed papers to withdraw. McDougal's key issue has been lately the death penalty. He's been a vocal advocate for reform of the state's Pardon and Parole Board, especially when it comes to the high-profile case now before the U.S. Supreme Court involving death row inmate Richard Glossip.
Tell me what it was. For all of us who have been fighting for this, all we're wanting out of this is justice. We want people to look at this case and see it for what it is, see it for the travesty that it is, and we want people to decide to do the right thing on this case and send him back for another trial. That's all we're asking.
With McDougal's endorsement, his Republican challenger Mark Chapman will now face Democrat Crystal LaGrone in November during the general election. Oklahoma also affects the national balance of power. In addition to president at the top of the ticket, the most powerful seats you'll vote on this November are actually for members of Congress in the U.S. House of Representatives. In the 1st Congressional District, Tulsa Republican Kevin Hearn drew a Republican challenger, Paul Royce. And then in November, he will face off against a Democrat and an Independent. The Democratic primary in June will be between Evelyn Rogers and Dennis Baker. In the 2nd Congressional District, which covers much of eastern Oklahoma, freshman Republican Congressman Josh Burkeen did not get a Republican challenger, but he does face a challenge in November from Democrat Brandon Wade and Independent Ronnie Hopkins. The Republican sweep even affects lower levels of government, just like with what happened at many state legislative seats. No one challenged Tulsa County Sheriff Vic Regalado, and he won re-election last week. Regalado is a Republican and was the only person to file to run for Tulsa County Sheriff this year. He was re-elected by default when no one else challenged him. Regalado first became sheriff in 2016 after more than 20 years within the Tulsa Police Department. Tulsa County Court Clerk Don Newberry was also re-elected when no one challenged him last week either. The party primary elections are on June 18th. The general election is November 5th. Keep in mind, today's coverage of all these seats does not include the state questions that you will also be asked to vote on in November. We will bring you complete coverage of all of those in the future. We'll have also coverage of all of those races as they happen during those election dates.